previously on Ballz.
Oh, Deshi, is that you? Deshi?
That's me.
Yeah, mate. Deshi, Stuart had got into a meeting by the time I tried to call him, mate. So Deshi, Deshi Bhaktawer, ladies and gentlemen, in case you don't know, a great South African goalkeeper. I used to play at a club called Bria Park. He used to play at a club called Arcadia Shepherds. And we were always rivals.
A bigger club
yeah,
called Arcadia
I
Shepherds.
know it was the bigger club. It doesn't matter. I had to mark Roy Wegley every week and be made to look a fool. Deshi was the calm, composed and very talented goalkeeper, coached, I think, by Trevor Gething, who was a legend in South African football at that time, in a certain sector of South African football. Deshi, the reason that we're talking today, as we discussed earlier, Deshi coached SuperSport United's goalkeepers last season. He's a regular face on the SABC. Whenever we drove around during the World Cup, Deshi, every toll gate we came to always knew you, always recognised you. You are a face of football in this country. Now, can you tell me about the young goalkeeper from SuperSport United who is, I would say, highly likely to be picked in this young Kasafa side today to replace Ntumeleng Khune for a tournament against the Southern African nations, a certain Ronwen Williams? What can you tell me about him, Deshi?
Gee, quite a bit, but thank you for all those kind words. Neal, I tell you what, he's just such a natural talent. He's absolutely brilliant. You know, one or two little question marks against his work ethic. I don't think he's grown up having to work too hard because he is such a natural talent.
Because he's a goalkeeper, Deshi. You're all like that.
Let me tell you, I had to work twice as hard as everybody else. But I think what he will bring to the team is that he'll get Gordon's team to play a lot higher up the pitch. Because Ronnie's one of the few goalkeepers I've seen coming through in South Africa that's able to play on the edge of his big box. You know, in fact, he enjoys coming out and playing out. In the cup final at the end of last season, SuperSport had a player sent off, I think, and in the last few minutes he came up and took a free kick, which was on target, I might add, and then stayed up there for 2 or 3 minutes. So he does quite enjoy playing out. His ability to sweep, I think that is a huge plus in most teams. So, yeah, I think, and the experience as well, Neal, will do him a world of good.
Deshi, I think you and I both went through the transition when goalkeepers just had to pick the ball up. The days of the goalkeeper having to use his feet only came kind of halfway through our football careers, well, maybe 3/4 of the way through. Ronwen Williams needs to have a touch. He needs to be able to play in and out of goal. He needs to be able to, like you say, sweep and dominate almost a third of the field when his defence are pushing up. How much of that has he got? And what kind, I mean, to me, the big thing about Ronwen Williams is the reflex goal stopping. How many Man of the Match awards last year, Deshi?
Well, you know, he won 4 of them in about 5 months.
Yes.
Yeah, so that says quite a lot. I tell you, in lots of games, he kept SuperSport in it. Yeah, the sweeping ability is... His distribution obviously needs a little bit of work, you know, but you can't compare that to Khune. I think Khune is one of the best in the world when it comes to distribution. Yeah. So obviously he's 21. He's going to learn things and pick new things up. But he's just such a naturally gifted goalkeeper. I've not seen one for a long, long time.
That's brilliant to hear. I mean, we seem to be overstocked with great goalkeepers. We got that lad, Darren Keat, playing in Belgium, won his player of the season. We've obviously got Ntumeleng Khune, who seems to me to be improving with age. We had Senzo Moyiwa come through for Orlando Pirates last year. You know, came into the side ahead of Minip Josephs, and then that sensational performance at TP Mazembe. Would you say, having picked up all those points for SuperSport, Ronwen Williams, surely Gavin Hunt moving to Wits, where there was a slight goalkeeping problem last year, they used people nearly as old as me to keep goal. Is there any chance, do you think, you know, knowing Ronwen and knowing SuperSport and all these people, is there a chance that Gavin might reach out to Ronwen Williams and take him to Wits?
I don't think so, Neal. I know Williams' contract at SuperSport was extended or upgraded. So I actually saw him just before he went on his holiday. And as far as he was concerned, he was staying at Supersport. In fact, I looked after his little baby for the evening. Yeah.
Deshi, I know how good you are looking after kids, mate, and you're an absolute legend when it comes to that. Brilliant.
Yeah. And like I say, at that point in time, there was. I honestly can't see Gavin signing him. I think if Gavin does want to sign him, he's going to cost an absolute fortune, and rightfully so as well.
Yeah, Deshi, Deshi, tell me this. I mean, I think we talked about this once when we met at a restaurant out at Centurion Way. There was rumours of Arsenal looking at Ntumalen Kune and maybe Peterborough. I know that Darren Ferguson, Sir Alex's son, looking at keepers out here, suddenly realising there are good keepers in Africa right at the tip. And I heard that they came out and looked at Kune. Some English scouts were looking at Kune and Ronwen Williams kind of came to their attention. Have you heard anything along those lines, like an international move for Ronwen Williams if he's named today in the CASAFA squad?
I haven't, but Ronnie's agent is Rob Moore,
yes,
and Rob's obviously based in Spain. And I would imagine that Rob would sort of explore those possibilities.
Yeah.
I've often said to Ronnie as well that obviously the goal is to make the national team, but he's got to look outside the country as well. I think, that'll just make him so much better if he's playing at a much higher level.
Well, that's what this big debate with Sunday Elisa this week, saying that the reason Nigeria went out of the Confed Cup is playing too many local players and what playing overseas can do for you. I know you went to, didn't you go to Wolves for a while, Deshi? Am I imagining that?
I spent a short time at Wolves, yeah.
And did you find
it was a good time? Yeah.
Did you find that it improved? Yeah, the obvious question. Did it improve you? Did it make you more professional?
Well, Neal, this was such a long time ago. Football was almost very primitive, I think, all over the world if you compare it to what it's become now.
Yeah.
And at Wolves, we, funny enough, they didn't have a goalkeeping coach. So Jim Barron, who was the assistant, a former goalkeeper himself, he used to bring us in 1 day a week. And whereas at Arcadia, we had Trevor Gethin for a few seasons before that already. But I do think the competition over there is a lot higher. The level, the technical ability of players, the tactical awareness of players, all of that's a step or two higher.
Yeah.
And I think that will help your game.
It's just I take some stick sometimes for suggesting players, South Africa's top players need to go overseas young, like Sianda Kulu has. I quite like what he's done at Rostov this year, 3 or 4 Man of the Match awards there, playing at centre back, age 20. I think Yanda Patosi, who's in Holland at the moment, is talking about coming home because he's homesick. Isn't it better for these players to get over to Europe and hone their skills at this early age, say 20, what's wrong with 21, and add a bit of lustre to what they do?
I think it is, and I think in many cases it's needed. I think Neal, we all know the standards in South Africa is obviously not the best. In playing in the better leagues in the world will no doubt improve your ability. Yeah. But I also think it's just everything about the way clubs are run. The fitness coaches, all that sort of thing, that will definitely make one a better player. I think when you're back home, and you can very quickly settle into a comfort zone, and that's a dangerous time because then you're not looking to improve. And I think with the kind of money that players are getting paid today in South Africa, I think that happens a lot.
Yeah, it worries me that. Okay, listen, Desh, you've got to come in. I was just been saying to Zain Musa as well, you've got to come in and sit with me and there's going to come a time where Darren Scott's going to stop holding my hand and I'm going to have to do the show on my own, and I need someone like you, Zane Musa, people like that to come and sit and chat with me for a couple of hours. So I'm going to phone you back. I'm going to rip you away from your life in Centurion and ask you to come and sit with me for a couple of hours in Midrand and talk football. But for today, thanks for the Ronwen Williams stuff. I'm assured he will be named in the Kasafa squad by Gordon Igesund in about half an hour's time. And Deshi, thanks for talking to us, and see you on SABC soon.
Neal, it's an absolute pleasure. And listen, anytime. Talking football is the one thing I'd like to think that I can do.
Don't you think it would be appropriate a fellow member of the Goalkeepers Club would wish today's South African goalkeeper a happy birthday?
Is it Itchy's birthday today?
Do you know whose birthday it is today?
Who is it?
Deshi?
No, I don't. Darren Isaac.
How's it going, man? I'm just thinking, I don't know if you actually coached as a goalkeeper coach when he was at Supersport United, but if you were, he might have actually been older than you.
Who's that then?
Andre.
Not Rowan Standard.
Andre.
Oh,
Is it
Andre.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, no, mate.
46 today.
Still playing, Deshi.
46. Yeah.
He's still playing.
Yeah, I know. Bloody hell. At least he's older than me. That's a big plus. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Andre Orange's birthday, 46 today.
All right, Desh. Thanks, mate. Speak to you soon.
Yeah. Listen, all the best. Nice to speak to you guys. Yeah.
Cheers, Deshi.
This is Ballz Visual Radio.